What's going on, everybody? My name is Hasia Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, where we discuss the essential qualities you need to stand out in the entertainment industry. This is our final week before we make a very special and important announcement for the show and drop our first new industry guest interview for season 4. Before we get there, however, this week, we're taking one last look back at some of the best advice shared in our show's history. This week's episode features Dune's Stephen McKinley Henderson, Anora's Sofia Miranda, The Wire's George Bennett Watson, Goosebumps' Yi Puig, Audiobook narrator Josh Innerst, The 688's Pepi Sonuga, Camelot on Broadway's Matias De La Flor, Home Alone's Kevin Kilner, The Blacklist's Lana Young, and Juror number 2's Adrienne C. Moore. This week, it is 10 Traits of Highly Successful Actors, Part 2. If you'd like to skip around, timestamps are in the episode description below. Enjoy. Stephen, I got one final question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
Oh, see, that's something. My first response really is to say you have to talk to some director who has hired me. Talk to some directors, because they're the ones that would say, I hired Henderson because of this, and because they would know what because I'm just responding to the text. I'm just doing me for all I'm worth. You know what I mean, in terms of responding to the text. But the other, if I had to think of something that I like to be known to do, is that I believe in the story. I believe it. There's a moment inside a play, to get to do Between Riverside and Crazy on Broadway. We had done it twice before off Broadway, and then they had a Pulitzer season that where they brought these plays that have won Pulitzer Prizes to bring people back to the theater after COVID and that. And so to be asked to do that and to be among those when Wendell did his Willie Loman and when all the brothers did Susan Lloyd Park's show, it was and the piano lesson was there, and some wonderful work, man. The Cost of Living, oh man, it's some great plays that were there, and so it was great to be in that number. But there was a moment on stage when I completely, and I love this, when that you really believe in everything that's there. I look at those other faces and they're so right there and present. We're in the world of this play and we're living inside it. It's an art form that we know and we're free inside it. And the people are getting it. And it's really quite something to have that belief, to be able to believe in the story and live it in the moment, and then have the lights and the curtain and all that stuff and going back to your reality and have that feeling that, that's quite a temple. It's quite a place to go. It's quite something.
I ask every guest this question, and that's the first time I've gotten that belief, that investment. I'm taking that away with me for sure.
All right, my bro.
I've got one final question for you.
Oh yeah, please.
What is your defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller? What sets Anna apart?
That's a beautiful question. I think it may sound redundant, but I do feel like it's my point of view. I think I have such a singular point of view, and as a Chinese Puerto Rican person, there are so few of us in the industry. I'm already approaching material from a lens that I don't think is as common as people may expect. And so that makes me feel inherently special in my own way, because I have such a specific kind of life experience, and to wildly different cultures kind of combining to create a really, lovely, but crazy upbringing / experience / identity. So that's what I kind of feel like is unique about me. And I think that also brings a lot of humor and unexpected approaches to material that may not necessarily be funny or common or easy. So I don't know if that answers your question, but maybe that.
It does. I mean, it is what makes
Yeah.
you. It's what makes you, you know?
Yeah, it's what makes me me. And I do want to say, obviously, because I have the amazing opportunity to be on this podcast right now, I just hope to whoever's listening that kind of like Hasyam and I were saying before of, I have to be word perfect. I have to do this right. These things about us that make us singular are so often things that we desperately try to change about ourselves and to conform and to fit in. And those simply are the things that will book you jobs. Like, it is not a coincidence that when someone watches your tape, they're like, redhead, person with a cool haircut. Yeah, the person with the accent that's, like, there's so many things about you that are unique. And I find that the longer I'm in this career, and I'm still young, but the longer I'm in this career, the more I'm realizing that all of the things I have tried to silence or take away space from in myself are all the things that I should be celebrating and leaning into, because those are the things that make us singular and wonderful and unique. And there's only one me, there's only one you. So why are we trying to be anybody else? Like, it's such a waste of our precious energy,
Say that.
Yeah.
Anna. Wow. I've heard a lot of people who've had many years and decades in this business. They say it takes 10 years, for your career to really take off. And
Yeah.
I feel like yours is kind of fast tracked, and
Thanks.
and you're navigating it so beautifully. And just talking to you right now, I'm like, of course they cast her as a series lead because you are a leader and you speak with so much wisdom, at your ripe age that I will not publicly say, but you're young.
Oh, it's on Google. You guys, I'm 26.
I know some people are sensitive about it, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
Gotta embrace that.
But yeah, I mean, you're 26, and a year ago you were cast as a series lead on a show, and like I said, I can see why. Anna, you're fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, Jeorge. I got one final question for you.
Okay.
It's a question I ask all my guests.
Okay.
Which is, what is your defining quality that sets you apart as an actor, as a storyteller?
Gravitas.
Mm.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even if it's comedic work or like, I just feel like I've been blessed with a weight. And at the risk of sounding like I'm heavy, it's not that I'm heavy. It's just that once I figure out who this guy is,
Yeah.
I'm this is who I am. And
Yeah.
and he can be someone who moves through the space in a lighter way than, say, a previous character, but that's still his weight. Like, I understand what my character's weight is and how they relate to their surroundings, because Jeorge understands how he moves through the world and how he affects people and how he's affected by people. And then I can sort of say, okay, well, then I can imagine these given circumstances for this guy growing up the way he did, as creating the backstory and given the blessing of the text. Then I can say, okay, well, then this is how so he could be flighty. That's his weight. He could be heavy. That's his weight. He could be a middleweight, like sort of like almost on boxing terms. Like, he's always on his toes,
Yeah.
That's his, I think physicality. And I would say, as a 1A, active listening. Like, that is so important, brother. Like, it's to the point where sometimes that turns me on. That gets me, like, even describing it right now, I felt like this sensation right up in my chest. That gets me excited because I'm listening to what you're saying. And because I already know the lines, I know what I'm about to say because I've drilled them and drilled them and drilled them. So I'm just settled in. I'm taking in what you're giving me, and then I go, okay, so what about this? To me, those like the moments that resonate for me from 2 Trains, because that's the last show that I did, is moments with Taji Sr., moments with just Jerome Preston Bass, moments with my boy Raphael, moments with Godfrey, moments with everybody that I had interactions with, where I'm listening to them and I know what I gotta say. And I'm like, oh, this is why you're saying that. Okay, well, August gave me this worse than this is what I'm gonna say to you. And when I'm doing that, I'm hearing the audience go, oh, wow. That's how I know they're listening to me, listening to him. And now Raphael is listening to me. So it's that, bruh, I'm telling you, man, that stuff is so exciting. It's sexy. It's sexy.
Yeah.
Active listening. So I would say gravitas, if I could answer that with 2 parts, gravitas and the ability to actively listen to what the other person is saying. And hear it. And take it in.
Luna, I got one final question for you.
Okay.
I know you're still early in your career, but I'm curious, what is the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
Oh, God. That's a very difficult question.
What sets you apart when you step on set?
What sets me apart when I step on set?
Mm-hmm.
God, that's a really good question. I don't know how to answer it. I think that
Like if somebody was gonna, like if you stepped into someone else's shoes, right? Like a filmmaker's shoes, and they were like, oh my God, they see her, we need to book her. Why?
I mean, I work hard. I work really hard. I think I have like a really strong work ethic. Maybe it's because I come from an immigrant family and like I work in an industry, like when you're a stripper, you do not get paid. You usually pay to work. And if you want to go home with money, you have to hustle. Like no one's going to give you money. So I think I'm just like, I'm a little worker bee, like I've been primed to just be a workhorse. So if you want like a hard worker on set, like I'm your girl.
Heard. I mean, there is no replacement for hard work. Talent can get you so far, connections can get you so far, but when you have to step on set, when you have to do those incredibly long days in a bikini in the middle of a snowstorm, it's like you got to be able to bring the goods.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, for you, what is a defining quality that you see in yourself that you bring to the table as a storyteller that sets you apart from everyone else? What makes your instrument unique?
Before I say this, I want to say it's been difficult for me sometimes to recognize myself, to recognize the things that I bring to the table. And I think that sometimes also as artists or as humans, we tend to make ourselves a little small to fit into a thing. To not bring too much blank to, take away energy or space. So you asking me this question, I just wanted to say that because there's a tendency of that, I think, in my life. And that's one of the things I'm trying to overcome, because I do know what I bring, but I still hesitate to say, because I know I bring an energy. I bring a good energy. I bring a positive mindset, and I'm a yes and. And I know this because people have told me, but I don't necessarily always see that in myself because I'm just doing me, and like, that's fine. But it's a beautiful question because and the reason I say what I said is because even if it's hard to recognize, it must be recognized, what you bring to the table. And it's a beautiful question. And I think that for me, it's like a teamwork. I think it comes from like doing athletics, that energy and that positivity and that optimism and my commitment to what we're doing, and again, it connects back to why it's so important to stay off the cynical place that we can sometimes get into, because sometimes our best qualities can get robbed from us if we allow the industry to take too much from us mentally.
Absolutely.
You know? So those are things that I'm starting to be able to recognize about myself and not necessarily consciously do them. Just it's just who I am, you know? And also, if you cast me, you're probably going to get some good food out of it.
There we go, folks. There we go. That's what we were waiting to hear. All right, Pepi, last question. What would you consider to be your defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller? What sets you apart? What makes you special?
My passion. My passion makes me special. And I will go a step further in saying there are a lot of people who could be passionate about a lot of things. But my defining characteristic, even just in my life, is my enthusiasm. Like I kind of have like a cheerleader personality. And so with my work, I'm going to be 100% passionate about it, but I'm also so enthusiastic and I bring so much positive energy. So I definitely feel like I'm an asset to anything I work on, and I'm just waiting for those special things.
That I can totally see it. I think you would be an asset. I can feel like just being on this call with you, like that positive energy, it's infectious. And
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes us have a good time, which is valuable to have somebody like that on set. Absolutely.
Especially when they're setting the tone is number one.
What is the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
Whoa. Oh, God, that is a great question.
What makes Lana Young special as an actor?
I think my absolute presence and attention with the person I'm with, and my ability to really feel affected by what they're giving me and what I'm giving back to them. So maybe my attention. Yeah, just being able to really be in the moment and really listen and be present with that person and have an exchange of feelings and moments for real in that moment of a scene or of however the story is being told.
That's amazing. I think focus is, that's something that I am literally currently working on. I read a book that this is the third time we've spoken about this book on the show. Guys, if you haven't gotten it yet, The Invisible Actor, you must get it. And one of the strategies that the author speaks about is focus. And he's from Japan. And he's like, one thing that American actors really struggle with is the ability to do one thing at a time. One task. He's like, if you're washing dishes, can you just wash the dishes?
Right.
Without like putting on a podcast or watching a YouTube video. Like,
you just be present.
Right. If you're brushing your teeth, can you just brush your teeth? If you're, as you said, in front of another person on stage or on camera, can you just be with them? So I think that's an amazing trait to have. And it's no surprise that you've been so successful. Lana,
I
go ahead.
do want to add one thing, Hasim, if I may, only because you did such a good job at bringing this out and talking about, why I like to mentor, etc. I am working on a book called The Joyful Actor, Mastering a Mindset. And it is about how to have an enjoyable and sustainable acting journey, which, sort of talks a lot about this whole having goals and timeframes and all of that.
Amazing. Well, we'll keep an eye out for it and we'll for sure plug it on the show. Yeah.
Thanks.
What is the defining quality that separates you as a storyteller? Oh, that's a good question. What makes Josh Innerst special?
I want to say like, no, I'll be honest. I'm a workhorse. I have never, I think partially because when I was young, I didn't know any better and I had a lot of unearned confidence. And as I've gotten older, I've lost some of that unearned confidence, but I've never been particularly fixated on talent and ability. I've always been interested on just showing up and doing the thing, which is a double-edged sword because, of course, you need ability and you need talent and you need training. But I learned, I toured for many years. And when you tour, you begin to understand that, you know what, the most important thing for a successful endeavor here is not to have God's gift of genius actors descend into the room. It's to have somebody who is going to show up on time, going to be good at what they do, and be pleasant to work with. And for me, like, I really prize being a workhorse and showing up and doing the job, you know.
And I can attest to that. I didn't say this before, but to our listeners, Josh and I did a show together a few years ago at Cleveland Playhouse. We did the Three Musketeers.
Oh, it was a blast.
He was the Rochefort to my
Rochefort.
D'Artagnan. And I can attest that, dude, you are a workhorse and you're professional. Like, it's funny because the whole conversation today has been about being a full-time actor. And like, that's really how, at least as an observer, that was my takeaway working with you. I was like, that's what a professional looks like.
Oh, I mean, that means the world, man.
What is the one quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller that you feel has led to this consistency that you've had in your career?
I think if you love it, then you have the will to do it daily, develop it, and then find the joy in what you're doing, and you're not afraid to take that joy into the room, into the casting process, onto the set, to the theater. And actors are, again, trained to recreate the life around us truthfully under imaginary circumstances. So if you're a student of people and life, you can learn every day from everyone, from every little interaction, every little conversation. And I'm grateful. I'd say curiosity and will. Because will is really work ethic too. That will and work ethic sort of blend for me personally. That's just my definition.
I love it.
I tell my students and I tell myself, I point the finger at my chest all the time. I'm telling myself when I'm telling my students and others that I try to help. Humility gets beaten into you because you realize how complex this world is, and you realize how, God forbid tomorrow I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time and I get T-boned in an accident and my neck gets broken, or I'm dead or I'm paralyzed. We all know there's luck involved, but I tell them you have to work like heck to get lucky. You get luckier the harder you work. You create, and I won't even use the word luck. Let me replace luck with fortune. You have good fortune the harder you work, the more joy you spread, the joy of just doing what you get to do. So do you have to be in the right place at the right time? Yeah. But as I say to my students, then you have to deliver. You have to be able to deliver. And the only way you deliver is if you've been working on the craft every day.
Absolutely.
And I wish everybody the opportunity to be in the right room or auditioning for the right thing at the right time. And all of a sudden you're seen in a certain role and a director says, I'm going to give you a bigger role in my next thing. And then all of a sudden and I have friends that's happened to their career changes overnight.
Yeah.
And you go as far as you can go. You work as hard as you can for as long as you can, and know that life is going to be fickle.
Man, wow, Kevin, beautiful, beautiful words, incredible wisdom. I grew up watching you on my TV screen, and it's kind of surreal to be able to sit here and call you a friend and a mentor at this point. So just thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming onto the show. Reflecting on your career and your journey, what would you say is the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller? What is it that sets you apart?
I think, and this is something that I always tell artists when they are starting out in the business or want advice from me, and that is to, you already have to have a level of confidence in yourself, right? But I think, the biggest gift that I give myself, and that was what all my teachers taught me, was to trust my instincts. I think so many times you can get into this business and you can read a script and, you can kind of understand a character's oeuvre, so to speak, and you can play it like that. And you just kind of play it like that, and you don't learn to trust your instincts. And what I love about trusting your instincts and about my teachers teaching me that is that will inevitably lead you to bring something unique to that character, because everyone's instincts are different. And so I just try to be kind, not only to the people that I'm working with and to the character that I'm portraying, and to be compassionate to the story and the voices that I'm giving to them, but I try to trust my instincts and I try not to question it. Because there's so many times, and I don't know, if you were in school, right? You were, you were in your classes and you put your scene up in front of your professor and you got the feedback, from the teacher and from the class and whatever. And sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't, well, you can get so much into your head that you learn not to just trust the voice and the heart and the art that's in you. And I always appreciate my teachers encouraging me to just, silence everything outside and not just go with what I think they would want me to do, or what the audience might want me to, to do, or what the audience might want to see, but like, what are my instincts telling me?
Oh boy, I have so many thoughts on that, but we're not going to go any further. That's great. And it's something that I needed to hear, and I appreciate you sharing that part of you with us. Thank you all so much for tapping into this week's episode of The Actor's Instrument. If you enjoyed it, then you'll love our 30 minutes of the best and free casting advice ever shared on the show. So be sure to check that episode out. Before you go, please give us a follow or subscribe. It really helps out a ton, and you don't want to miss this announcement coming up. We'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.